Hey guys, this is Brody from Brody's Garage. This is episode 41. Today is July 10th. And have I got an update for you? Well, in case you didn't see it on one of my Facebook posts recently, big news. I got the car running. I actually got this thing running and I drove it around the block a few times and man, the pieces are starting to fall into place. I'm going to show you some footage of its maiden voyage around the block.
I'm Doc Emmett Brown. It's Friday, June 18th, 1985. I'm about to make an historic voyage into the future.
This is the 67 Nova. Garrett, my buddy, neighbor, is filming me right now. Last night was the very first time I fired up the engine. I wasn't even prepared for it. It fired up and I didn't have the camera rolling or anything. Lasted about 5 seconds. Couldn't get the fuel pump to stay on. Got that sorted out today. A lot of computer issues yesterday. Got it to flash the firmware on the ECU. I think we're ready to go for a ride. It's been run for about 5 minutes today. And you know, it's thrown together. The exhaust isn't even finished. It's just tacked in place. But I'm gonna see if I can make it around the block. I just topped off my fluid levels. Threw the front seat in, kind of cleaned it up and vacuumed it out, and checked my shifter linkage. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Here comes Melissa. You want to watch this? This is going to be the maiden voyage, and I'm going to get in and fire it up. It's going to be loud because there's no mufflers on it, and I'm going to see if I can move this car around the block under its own power. Don't tell the cops. It's not registered. All right. We got a ton of wiring laying around here.
Not yet.
After we get in gear, I want to make sure it goes in gear without flying away from me. Rattle trap. Eventually this will all be dynamated and soundproofed and interior and all that stuff. It'll actually be a car, hopefully. So right now, let's see if I can make it move. Get it back into park. I got to jumper the brake switch wire, which it already is. And what's on the brake? Keep this with me.
Clear.
Yeah, watch yourself. Are there any cars coming? No cars coming? All right, here we
That's
go.
an old pilot term, yeah.
Okay, so I've been saying for, I don't know, a few weeks now that I'm getting really close to firing this thing up, and it was a couple days ago that I actually attempted to push the start button for the first time. The biggest problem I had was when I went to plug in my laptop and start looking at Holley Terminator X for the very first time ever. It said that I needed a firmware update on the ECU, so I said, okay. So I had downloaded the latest version of the software and the latest version of the firmware update, and I began the update process, and it says connection error or communication error timed out. Communication error timed out. Retry? Yes. Kept retrying. Shut the power off, turned it back on, recycled, kept trying, nothing. Communication error left and right. Got online, started snooping around, saw a YouTube video of a guy saying that his ECU got bricked after he tried to do a firmware update while also at the same time having in the Dakota Digital BIM module. It's a little interface module that talks between Holley's Terminator software, or the ECU, and the Dakota digital gauges. It takes all the data that's coming into Holley and sends it over to the gauges for readout. Well, apparently, and unbeknownst to me, whenever you try to do an update to the firmware for the Holley, you cannot have that Dakota digital thing plugged in at the same time because they share like a splitter port on the USB CAN bus. So I'm like, well, great. So what happens now? Well, some guys were posting videos saying, well, we've had luck reflashing the firmware if you follow these procedures and disconnect everything else but the laptop or your handheld device. And some people were saying that you couldn't do it with a laptop, that you have to do it with a handheld device, and try this and try that. And I tried everything all day long. Finally, I go on Holley's website after I'm ready to almost send the thing back and wait 3 weeks for them to reflash my firmware. I find version 1 software and version 1 firmware update. I'm like, why would they still have this on their website? It's like way outdated. I said, I've tried everything else. I'm going to try it. And guess what? That did it. I got it to install version 1, V1 software. And from there, I did the firmware update and boom, zip, it went right on there. The LED lights that had gone dark completely came back on. The thing breathed back into life. And I'm like, holy crap. So I loaded a bass tune and I got the thing to start that night, which was 2 nights ago, for about 5 seconds and then it died. And I'm like, okay, I did it. It's 10 p.m. I can't make any noise anyway, so I'm going to go to bed and I'll come back out and I'll attack this the next morning. First thing that I figured out was my fuel pump, which is back here. The wire that I had set up to trigger the relay, which, by the way, there's my nifty little relay panel that I finally wired up by myself, all neat and tidy. The wire that the ECU is sending to turn on and off the fuel pump, I, for some reason, ran it down there and was gonna strip the wire and connect it into the relay trigger side, and I somehow got distracted and I forgot about it. So I found that, connected it, boom, ECU was turning on the fuel pump, and then I could go in and adjust the prime time amount, and so I got that working to where it would prime the fuel pump, went in and changed some settings for the cooling fans, and started the thing up that second day. Got it running for about 5 minutes here, varied the throttle a little bit, and then I did some more work on the car. I kind of mocked up the exhaust. I tacked it into place really badly, checked my shifter adjustment, I topped off all my fluids, and I took the car for a drive, as you've seen. Then there's today. I've been making further advancements with it. Chapo, my buddy, came over today and did a couple hours worth of TIG welding for me on my downpipes. Got those almost done. We ran out of gas twice. My tank ran out, and then a friend brought a half-full tank over, and that depleted really quickly. So he's gonna take these to his shop and finish up the TIG welding. I finished up some work down below, and I made some hangers for them, and I'll show you that now. Okay, and so this is where we are leaving off tonight. I just installed these hangers right there. And so basically we have down to the collector here. This is the oval tubing going up stairs there to the transition. It's round. And Chapo's gonna come by and pick these up in the morning and finish TIG welding these up while I'm away. But basically I'm thrilled. I'm about to depart for New York tomorrow to meet up with my better half and my little girl there. and I'm just so thrilled that I got it to this point where I can sort of check this off my list. I started it, I drove the car. My thoughts and impressions are, first of all, it's noisy as hell because of the open exhaust. And I think what we're gonna do is get the car on a trailer, take it down to Chapo's shop, we're gonna put it in the air, and we're gonna finish the entire exhaust system, all mandrel bent all the way out. Once I get that done, then the car will be quieter and I can listen better, but I either have some exhaust leaks at the flange, I mean the header flange, I might need to just go tighten those bolts some more, or I might have a slight mechanical issue. It's hard to tell. There's a very metallic sound that's happening that is separate from the exhaust tone, and I can't tell if it's a lifter or a rocker arm out of adjustment, or by the way, these are hydraulic lifters. I did the preload as best as I could. As far as I know, I did it right, but it sounds like there's something, and it could be an exhaust leak. It could be a mechanical noise. I'm not sure. I pray that it's not mechanical. But the engine is going to come out eventually. So, you know, hey, better to catch it sooner than later. Yeah, so the plan is to get the exhaust done. I think I'm going to go ahead and get it registered before I do anything else, because that's kind of a major obstacle to check off. And who knows, with it running, I might just finish up getting the taillights and headlights installed, making it fully street legal, getting it tagged and registered, and maybe doing a little dialing in before I strip it apart for paint. But I think I'm pretty close at this point now, with all the mechanical stuff, the major stuff kind of out of the way. All the major systems are in place: suspension, brakes, engine, transmission. It shifts around, going around the neighborhood fine so far. I'm a little concerned about how hot it's going to get. The most I've seen it on the laptop was it reached, I think, 230 degrees. But again, I haven't fully bled the cooling system yet. I do have a pinhole leak that I still need to fix. I may need to do a vacuum suction and refill on the system to get all the air out of it. There's, I'm sure, timing and fuel curve issues that could cause it to be running hot right now, for sure. And there's been a couple of guys on the forums that have offered to help me with that, so I'll probably take them up on that. Get the exhaust in, get the tune done. I don't know if I need to add a second wideband O2 sensor. The system only came with one, but I may add a second one if it's determined that that will give me a more accurate tune. So I'm so parched right now. I'm gonna go in and call it a night, but I'm just ecstatic right now. I got the car running and drove it. I actually put the seat in and drove it around the block with no windshield and just hot air coming right at my face. And it was freaking awesome. And I got around the corner and I was just giggling. And by the way, thanks to Garrett and Melissa, my neighbors, for filming me that day and capturing my first maiden voyage on film. I'm excited. This is a good place to be right now. And when I get back from New York, I'm gonna kick some more ass and get this thing ready for paint. So, would you like to hear it run? Let's do it. guys take care. Thanks for tuning in. And please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Give the video a like. It helps me generate more, thingies, whatever. Good night.